Hi guys, this is Heart Secrets and Horizons of the Philippines. If you're a foreigner planning to move here, maybe because you're dating or marrying a Filipina, or simply because you think life is cheaper and more relaxed, this video is for you. Today, I want to walk you through the harsh realities many expats don't always talk about. The natural disasters, infrastructure problems, and even corruption that come with living in this so-called tropical paradise. Let's start with typhoons. The Philippines is not just sunny beaches and palm trees. Geographically, we're surrounded by water, and that means storms. According to Pag-asa, the country sees an average of 20 tropical cyclones entering the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR each year, and about 8 or 9 of them make landfall here. These aren't just mild storms. Many are typhoons and some can escalate into super typhoons. When they hit, the impact can be huge. Power goes out, water supply fails, flooding happens, and life for a while can be pretty chaotic. If you're thinking, oh, I'll just ride out a few months, no big deal. Well, maybe. But remember, after a big typhoon, you might be without electricity or clean water for days. That's just not inconvenient. It can be dangerous. One of the most common side effects of typhoons is flooding. But even without a full-blown typhoon, low-pressure systems can still bring heavy rains and flooding, especially in urban areas. Floodwaters are more than just wet sidewalks. They can be dirty, full of trash and debris, dead animals, even sewage. In crowded cities, drainage systems are not always well maintained. And with dense population and a lot of garbage, floodwater can be a health hazard. Leptospirosis and other diseases are real risks. And on top of that, floods can damage your property, your daily life, and your livelihood, especially if you're not used to the scale of flooding in your home country. Now, let's talk about earthquakes. The Philippines sits squarely in the Pacific Ring of Fire, which means we experience seismic activity all the time. According to FIVOX, the country averages about 30 earthquakes a day, though many are very small. FIVOX also reports dozens of active fault systems, meaning there's always some risk. These tremors might not always be dangerous, but stronger quakes do happen. They can damage buildings, infrastructure, and worst case, endanger lives. If you're moving here, especially to an older home or one that's not built to seismic standards, earthquake risk is something you have to take seriously. And because we're on the Ring of Fire, volcanoes are part of the equation too. According to FIVOX, there are 24 historically active volcanoes in the Philippines. As for dormant or inactive volcano, FIVOX lists hundreds more. That doesn't mean you're always under threat of an eruption. Most of these volcanoes are closely monitored and many are dormant. But living in a country with so many volcanoes means awareness matters. You need to know which volcanoes are active, where you're located, and what the evacuation plans are in your area. Moving on from natural disasters, another struggle many foreigners face is corruption. While Filipinos are incredibly welcoming and hospitable, the government side of things can be frustrating. You pay taxes through value-added tax when you buy goods and you pay for services. You contribute. But sometimes infrastructure projects feel poorly managed or under-delivered. Roads, drainage, public services, they might not meet the standards you're used to. Even worse, as a foreigner, there's often little you can do about it. Corruption tends to be systematic, and many local citizens feel the same frustrations you do. It's not just about paying more. It's about expecting more and sometimes not getting it. One more thing that can feel unfair: dual pricing. Yes, many foreigners find the Philippines incredibly affordable until they realize for certain services or tourist attractions, there's a different price for foreigners. It's not universal, but you will run into places where the foreigner fee is real. It's not always advertised, and sometimes it feels petty, but it's a reality. And as someone planning to stay, it's something to factor into your budget mindset. Look, none of this is to scare you off. The Philippines is a beautiful country with warm people, incredible landscapes, and a cost of living that does make life easier in many ways. But paradise isn't free from risk. So here's the real question. Are you willing to trade off some comfort, certainty, and even safety for what you hope to gain here? Whether that's a relationship, a cheaper lifestyle, or simply a change of pace? Yes, the storms are real. Yes, earthquakes and volcanoes are part of the deal. Yes, corruption and dual pricing can be frustrating, especially for someone coming from a place with more predictable systems. But if you're prepared, informed, and resilient, those risks don't have to outweigh the benefits. If you decide to make the Philippines your home, the key is mindset. Understand the risks, plan for them, and don't assume everything will always go smoothly. And ask yourself, is what I stand to gain worth the trade-off? Also, drop a comment below. Which of these challenges worries you the most? And explain why. I'd love to hear your thoughts. By the way, if you want to know the things I love as a Filipina about living here in the Philippines, you might want to watch this video right here. Once again, this is Art Secrets and Horizons of the Philippines. See you in the next one. Bye!